Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with some Ryzeal Mitsurugi. This is going to be a post-ban list, and I actually got this list from the rating duels from Season 49. In 6th place, Nishi24 used this Ryzeal Mitsurugi list in order to secure 6th place. Now, there are a couple of key differences, right? They were obviously playing last season, so Max C was at 2, and they were on a 41 card deck with 2 Max C. So I just went ahead and cut one of the Max C to make it a 40 card deck. They also had 3 Aramasa, and I only own 2, so I'm substituting one of them for a single copy of Lamia. Now, Nishi24 has an excellent breakdown of the list in their note article. They also have a Twitter post as well that links to that. So I'm going to link both of those in the description, and that's going to offer a ton of valuable insight as to how this deck was built and how it plays, a lot more than I can offer. So definitely go ahead and give them support by reading. It's all going to be in Japanese, but you can use Google Translate to get at least, some out of an approximation like I did. Now, one thing you might be wondering is, well, Hex, you said it's post-ban list, right? But at the same time, this was a Season 49 top 10 rating duel deck. How can that be the case? Well, this list here actually still falls in with the new ban list, even though it was from last season, because we're not playing cross. Because this list actually only plays 3 Ryzeal cards in the main deck. 1 Sword, 1 Ice, 1 X, and only 1 Detonator in the extra deck. Indeed, this is more of a pure Mitsurugi deck that is using Ryzeal as an engine. But given that it did so well last season, and it, again, complies with the current ban list, I thought it would be a really good list for post-ban list Ryzeal Mitsurugi. So I've got some games, and we're going to go ahead and check them out with this list. Okay, wanted to start off with a very back and forth going second game, 6 turns against Kashtira. So these games were played at the start of the season when I was in Diamond 5, so you're going to see a lot more like off meta in this video, but definitely still going to see some quality gameplay here with a very cool deck. They're going to lead with Special Summon Fenrir to add the Ryzeal. I'm not going to activate Ash Blossom. I'm waiting for Kashtira Theosis. I was also waiting to see if they were going to be on like a different deck, because sometimes they could be like, Tier Limit, for example, using Fenrir to add Tier Cash or something like that. But either way, I don't think it's really ever right to Ash Blossom the Fenrir or the Unicorn. If it's Cash, again, you can just wait for the Theosis. They are going to banish that Theosis, special summoning a Tier Cash in order to also wheel back the Birth they banished off of Ryzeal. Tier Cash is going to mill them, but they milled 3 trap cards, which we love to see. They're going to activate the Birth and then overlay into Shangri-Ira. And then they're going to activate Dimensional Fissure before passing over to us. Now, we're going to go into our turn. Draw, getting the Mitsurugi Mirror is not bad. They're going to summon Unicorn from the extra deck. I'm going to activate Bonfire for X Ryzeal. And I actually misplayed pretty badly here by then immediately going into Mitsurugi plays, because honestly, it's been so long since I played Ryzeal cards. I don't have any excuse. I just forgot that X couldn't add if I control a non-level or rank 4 monster. I'm just so frustrated with my past self just watching them here, fumble not summoning the Ryzeal monster for no reason. Anyway, they're going to use Unicorn Trip the Detonator from our extra deck, which is totally fine, because Detonator, you don't even really summon it that often in this particular variant. See, a lot of the time what you're going to do with the Ryzeal monsters is you're going to use them in order to summon out King of the Feral Imps and go into Mitsurugi plays, right? And a lot of the time you can even do this through the Dominus Impulse. This is something that Nishi24 talks about in that article, right? The Ryzeal cards look like they conflict with the Impulse, but if you think about it, normal summon Ice Ryzeal is still fine, because that's a normal summon, and Impulse only stops special summoned monsters' effects, I believe. And X and Sword effects to special summon don't actually activate. They're like the Yummy monsters and Sprite cards. They just summon from the hand, right? So in that regard, you don't even really have that much, you know, conflict between the Impulse and your small Ryzeal package here. But again, definitely check out the article linked below, which explains it in much greater detail. So we're going to use the Murakumo to board wipe them. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to wipe the Era, but if we battle, it'll lose its last material. And now, during the draw phase, I can use the prayers in order to tribute the Murakumo, and then now I can revive, again, specifically during the draw phase, before the Era has a chance to activate during the standby phase, and since it no longer has any materials, now the Murakumo effect will destroy it. Okay, they're going to go for a Birth effect. I'm going to chain Murakumo and force them to discard their last card in order to be able to do that, which turns out to be a Fuwa anyway, so... I mean, at the same time, they weren't ever going to use it, so it was always just going to get discarded by the Murakumo here. They're going to bring back Fenrir, use Fenrir to add the Scareclaw Kashtira, and because they did activate the effect of Era earlier this turn, during the draw phase, they do get to summon the Arise Heart with the Scareclaw Cash. So they're going to go Fenrir, battle to banish my Murakumo face down, and then smack me directly with the Fenrir and the Arise Heart. Looks kind of bad, but it's really not that big of a deal, because we have a lot of follow-up in our hand, right? So, draw phase, we're finding the Sword Ryzeal. Gonna find the Murakumo from our deck off the Aramasa. They're gonna chain Fenrir, trying to banish the Aramasa. I'm gonna chain Prayers to tribute it. That way I can both get a search and a summon here. And I can special out the Wosu, which doesn't really do a lot, honestly, and was a bit of a misplay on my part as well. But we're still able to go Mirror Tribute the Murakumo in order to summon, or sorry, the Habakiri in order to summon the Murakumo. Now, Rise Heart's going to try to activate here. We're going to go Murakumo, or sorry, a Rise Heart Banish effect is going to try to activate here, and now we're going to go Murakumo effect to negate. And because our opponent no longer has any cards in their hand, you know, they're not able to have the option to discard. So a Rise Heart's negated. Habakiri gets to search up a Great Purification to have another negate. Now Murakumo is going to wipe their board. And they do get to Theosis add back the Fenrir for a follow-up turn, which is unfortunate because I can't really finish them off here. But that said, we do at the very least have the Great Purification. Alright, they're going to go activate Birth. We're going to chain Murakumo. I'll make them discard their top deck if they want to use that effect, which ends up being Rhoda. Revive Scareclaw Cash. Birth to normal summon Fenrir. Moving to battle phase because they don't need to activate Great Purification against Fenrir. They get to battle over the Wosu. And then pass back over to me. So Habakiri is actually a great top deck here because I can go normal summon Sword, Sword add Ice, Ice send Callby to special summon. Now I can overlay for Code Igniter, and then I can activate Code Igniter to tribute the Murakumo to summon the Habakiri. And then now the Murakumo gets to revive here and wipe the board. We also even get to add the Magatama here as well. Now Murakumo activates, they're going to try to chain Fenrir, but of course we can once again activate the Murakumo negate, and because our opponent has no cards in hand, they are not able to discard, and we are able to blow up their board. Now battle phase, we are more than capable of swinging in for lethal. Alright, good stuff there. Very back and forth game. Honestly, it could have ended sooner if I didn't make a couple of misplays, but at the same time, we still like having these going second, like 6-turn duels is always fun. Let's check out the next game. Alright, now this one is going to be up against Mermail, a deck I haven't played against in a long time. And one that was a lot scarier, I don't know, before I guess all the power creep happened. Alright, so here's Impulse, Habakiri, a couple of spells, and the Kusanagi. They're going to lead with a draw phase Fuwa, so we're going to go for the Ritual here. They're going to fire off a Maxi as well. And yeah, they're going to get draws out of this. We're going to send away the, or they're going to get a draw. We're going to send away Aramasa plus Saji to summon the Habakiri from deck. We'll give them one draw off of Maxi, but now Saji and Aramasa both get to activate. We'll use Aramasa in order to grab a Murakumo. Saji gets to add prayers. And then now I'm going to activate Mirror, Tribute Habakiri, in order to summon Murakumo. I'm going to give them one more draw off the Murakumo with Maxi, because I'm actually going to activate Habakiri to search, but not to summon. There's not much of a point to giving them one draw to have the Habakiri body on board. I can normal summon Kusanagi, add back Ritual. Now I can set Prayers, Great Purification, and the Impulse in my hand before passing. So, as you can see, we're able to not give our opponent any extra draws. Like, they're going second, they have 6 cards like they normally would, but we still have the Murakumo with the Prayers and Great Purification, as well as the follow-up that we got, and the Impulse as well. They're gonna go for the Mermail. Which one is this? Or no, it's the Atlantean Abyss Siren. Gonna use Murakumo to force them to discard. They just send a Fuwa. They're gonna summon Poseidra. Poseidra's gonna try to bounce the Murakumo, but I'm definitely gonna chain the prayers to that. That'll tribute the Murakumo, and now, of course, I can revive it and then potentially board wipe as well. I might not board wipe though, because I still could, in theory, do that later if I really wanted to. Well, no, I couldn't, because I could have if I Great Purificationed, but because I used prayers first, I can't revive later. So I am gonna have to board wipe here, but that's fine. We'll deny them bodies on board to link or, you know, overlay with. We even get to chain block the Murakumo revive with the mirror here. Alright, so Murakumo is going to destroy their cards. They're adding Deep Sea Minstrel, which is so fine, and Muon Glacier, which is honestly also so fine. I really just do not care about that at all, because all the cards I have in hand are like for follow-up plays. Like, there's no hand traps here, so yeah, there goes their cards. I wish I could have gotten the Shadow Squad as well, but alright, so they're gonna discard the Ritual and the Prayers, normal summon Neptibus, send Dragoons. I'm gonna chain Great Purification in order to stop the Neptibus from actually, like, they still got to send the Dragoons, but at least now this way the Neptibus effect to, like, special summon won't activate, and they also no longer have the Neptibus body on board. You can add another Ritual anyway, and then revive the Habakiri, so the Muon Glacier discard really did not matter. Now Shadow Squad's gonna send that Minstrel in order to become a level 7, and now they're gonna overlay into the Abyss Strike. But little do they know, I still have the Impulse, and because I use Great Purification later, I can not only negate, but also destroy the Abyss Strike, leaving them with no bodies on board and forcing them to concede. So yeah, again, Atlantean, a deck that used to seem really, really scary with all its hand traps. I guess we did go first, to be fair, but here, as you can see, we were able to overcome them pretty easily. Alright, I think we have time for one more duel, so let's finish off with that one. Alright, our last game here is going to be against a Yummy variant, but it's actually going to be Pearly Yummy, which I think is... Yeah, I don't think I've come across this one on ladder yet. Again, these games were played at Diamond 5, so a lot more rogue stuff happening there when you don't have, like, the threat of ranking down. But we're going to open with normal summon Aramasa. We get to add the Habakiri here, activate Habakiri. In order to summon Saji, we're going to tribute Saji, and then activate. Of course, we're going to add a Prayers here. You want to add Prayers in like a more pure build like this, because then you can summon the Habakiri from the graveyard later with Mirror. And then you still get to search the Mirror or the Ritual off the Habakiri here anyway. Also gets you an extra body with the Saji on board. Now, they did summon a Retaliating Sea, but again, your stuff getting banished actually just doesn't matter at all when it comes to the, what do you call it? The Mitsurugi strategy. Because everything can, like, the Kusanagi can add from graveyard or banishment. The ritual monsters just say special summon, they don't say special summon from the graveyard. The only thing that's really affected is the mirror, because the mirror does say specifically, you know, summon from the graveyard, but everything else, I mean, we demonstrated that already with the Kashtira game up front, where literally everything got banished and we just outplayed them anyway. And they discarded a Cookie Yummy there in order to search up the Maxi. Maxi's gonna get chained against the ritual, but we have the Called By. Gotta simply fire that off here. and that'll stop the Max C. Alright, so there goes the Murakumo. We're going to tribute that off in order to summon out the Futsu no Mitama from the deck. Now Murakumo gets to activate. We're going to add a Mirror, and then Special Summon. And then, like I mentioned before, this is how we go into Activate Mirror in order to summon Habakiri from the graveyard that we sent off of prayers earlier. We're going to send away the Mitama in order to revive, and then Mitama gets to activate to search and revive as well. We're going to grab prayers here for a little bit of follow-up on the opponent's turns. Now we can overlay Saji plus Aramasa. I'm just going to make it do Garth and do a little bit of hand sculpting here. See if I can't find some more hand traps or something. They're going to Ash Blossom to do Garth, which I was very confused by. I was like, what? You had that the whole time and we're only just now activating it? That's completely fine. I'm going to link away to do Garth with the Habakiri in order to summon out our IP Masquerena. Then set Impulse plus Prayers with the Ash Blossom in hand before passing to our opponent. Normal summon per Lily, we're going to chain the Murakumo to that. I'm going to force them to give up one of their 2 remaining cards in hand to be able to make plays. They choose to let the per Lily get negated, actually. And then as they go to... No, they weren't going to end anything. Yeah, I was just going to activate the IP here. I should have waited to see if they were going to have follow-up before going into the Dynamundo. But I guess at that point, my thought process was I can Dynamundo, I can shuffle back the Per Lily, and then if they have follow-up, I can Dynamundo summon Murakumo to board wipe. So I guess it doesn't really matter either way. Plus, we still have the face-down cards as well as the Mitama and the Ash Blossom. So yeah, that game was always just ending with our victory no matter what. All right, let me show you the list one more time, and then we'll finish off here. Alright, so here is the deck list one more time. Again, that's going to be from Nishi24, and if you want a very thorough deck breakdown, check out the note article I have linked in the description below. That's going to be from the deck builder themselves, who, again, got 6th place last season in rating duels with a list very, very similar to this. Once again, the only differences here are they were on 41 cards. I'm on 40 with only 1 Max C for post-ban list. And since I don't own a 3rd Aramasa, I'm playing a single copy of Lamia instead. Now, as mentioned before, you might think that Impulse would conflict with our Ryzeal package, not that one, but with our Ryzeal package. But again, all of the Ryzeal effects to special summon from hand don't actually activate. They're like Yummy monsters and Sprite monsters. So because Impulse says you can't activate effects, you can still special summon these from hand to make rank 4s like King of the Feral Imps or do Garrus in order to help you out. I misspoke earlier. For some reason earlier I said, oh, Impulse, you know, you can still normal summon Ice Ryzeal through that, but I guess really the idea is that you would lead with normal summon Ice Ryzeal anyway, and then you would Impulse after that, right? So in that regard, it doesn't really conflict that much most times, but yeah, this list is really, really cool. And I think a very, very cool way to not only play Mitsurugi, but especially Ryzeal Mitsurugi post-ban list, where Cross is no longer legal. So having a full Ryzeal package might not even have as much benefit as it did before, right? Like the Duo Drive and the Star and all that stuff. Like, I mean, what do you do? Like set Plasma Hole or the Quick Play spell? It's like, it just doesn't really feel that good. So yeah, I like this list quite a bit. And another thing I really, really like is the Super Poly. Granted, the Secretarian Dragon, Dracatail isn't seeing as much play now that Canine is out. So this might not come up as much, but Super Poly is still an excellent board breaker against, you know, the Canine deck for attributes a lot of the time. You can get at least the, like, or not the Garura, the Mud Dragon, and against Yummy as well. Then you can summon out Garura a lot of the time, but another thing that you might want to try is maybe instead of Gorgon of Xylophonia, you could try the new WP Fancy Ball. I actually think the two cards, the two Link 3 monsters, are about comparable with one another as far as how strong they are. It's just like situationally based, right? Like sometimes Gorgon could just totally screw over your opponent with the arrows and the effect, or it can be used to battle over like a Lunalight Liger Dancer, because it'll always have more attack points. But then a lot of the time, the Fancy Ball various effects give you a lot more options as well. But yeah, like I said, cool list, and it did well last season, so I wanted to try it out. And I really liked it, so let me know what you think in the comments below, but for the time being, that's going to go ahead and do it. This is Hexlex, but before we sign out, let's move to our outro so we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.